What's going on, people? Stephen J. Ghost. We're going live. We're doing our live game right now. As I saw earlier, I was a little tired. I got a little more energy now because we had to put on our face on, put on the makeup and get prepared. And I don't have my water. I'm going to have to call somebody to get my water if I have to go with our sponsors.
Well, we're saying makeup figuratively, not necessarily literally, because I don't know how you would look with makeup. I don't think it would work for you. So I think that we got to emphasize that we mean figuratively. Well, since you like...
Fred, what's good? What's good?
Yeah, you changed the subject. You like perfume, so maybe you would try to dabble in some makeup. I don't know. You're a weird person.
So the next game, we're going to not talk about that anymore. And hopefully I could get my water if I could do our sponsors. Excuse me!
Oh my
Miss Kiana! I gotta get I gotta get my beverage because our sponsors want
you and your sponsor. Just say you're thirsty.
You know what I mean? Can I have my water, please? I'm asking one of my work, one of the staff for one of my waters. If I can shout out a sponsor real quick before we go live.
Toss it.
You can just give it a nice little toss. As you can see, you saw the hands right there, caught it. Thank you very much. And before I take a swig of this water, I'm gonna give our sponsors a shout out. Members Mark Purified Water. If you want to be purified, have Members Mark. I mean, that's like the best water in the world. Forget Poland Spring, forget Deer Park. It's called Members Mark Purified Water. If you want to be purified, have Members Mark.
Now you even changed the slogan. I mean, what is... Yo, you're not getting no money off of this. I mean, cut it out. Nobody cares.
Listen, always give a shout to our sponsors. And can you open that for me? I don't want to spill
and you can't even open it.
Yeah. The best water in the world.
It's water.
No. It's the best water in the world. Product placement. Listen.
Yes, but there's no money involved.
Always got to give a shout out to our sponsors. Thanks to our fans out there. One more time, I'm going to let y'all know. Members Mark Purified Water. If you want to be purified in God's name, drink Members Mark. All right. Now, got the sponsors out the way. Paid some of the bills. About to catch the Holy Ghost. Not this ghost. The Holy Ghost. All right. I like that. Now we're going to jump into this next game. Riot Squad versus the Browns.
Yeah.
The Browns are coming in 3-2. Riot is going to come in 5-0. And this is a great game right now. These teams, had a little talk going back and forth. And Riot Squad is eager to keep the winning going versus Browns now.
This is going to be a test for this team because, they've been winning a lot of their games. They faced the other undefeated team this season, Rep City, and they were able to go home with a win in that game.
Right.
They played very well. They were able to score, lock up on defense, and keep Rep City from getting a certain rhythm. So that was a good game for them. But there's another game that's going to test them because the Browns have been playing very good defense throughout the season, even though they were struggling to score. Now they have Lonnie able to put up points. So I think that this is going to be a different Browns team that they're facing in this game.
And Riot Squad is going to lose possibly their best player, King, their devastating pass rusher, one of the best pass rushers in the game this season, is going to be out for the year.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to miss him. I believe he led the league with 9 sacks.
Yeah. And
this team is going to be, it's hard. You can't say you can't take a hit from when you lose a player like this, man. And I think that's going to hurt Riot Squad for the rest of the season, not only this game.
And the main reason why is because he was the person who kind of dictated how their defense played with the way he rushed the passer and put pressure on the quarterback.
Right.
So when he's able to do that, it changed the dynamics of the game because the quarterback isn't going to be as comfortable, he's not going to be as accurate, and that's what changes the way the offenses play when you have such pressure coming in at all times. So King brought that for this team, and I think without it, it's going to weaken their defense somewhat unless someone's able to pick up the slack and step up.
And then you got, the Browns who come in with Lonnie. Lonnie's been struggling. You know what I mean? Still trying to get, the rhythm of the game of this team. You know what I mean? He know the Browns guy. The league is different on this side.
Yeah.
But with the Browns, they're coming in, and as always, the Browns are going to play defense. The Browns are going to play defense no matter what. So they always got a defense to depend on. So, they're coming in. They lost their game to They won. They beat Never Scared 6-0. They beat Brotherhood 20-0, but they lost to Rep City 6-0. So one thing you can always talk about the Browns is their defense is always going to be there, and that's something that they're going to have to bring in this game. All right, and that being said, we're going to jump right into the game. First down, Ramsey throws deep to Naheem, open on the sideline, who runs it all the way into the end zone for the touchdown. If you look here, Speedy was watching Ramsey, not seeing Naheem behind him. Tone gets a 2-point conversion. 8-0, Riot strikes right away.
And right like I just said, right as the game starts, Ramsey takes his first shot. That is a great throw, great way to see Naheem open, and great way to read the fact that Sleepy is not playing defense. He's busy watching and reading the quarterback.
I'm sorry, it was Sleepy, not Speedy.
Yes,
sorry.
Sleepy, yes. And Sleepy was busy trying to read the quarterback and doesn't see the receiver behind. That was an easy touchdown pass, a no-brainer, and that's 6 points for them.
On the kickoff, Browns drop the ball and they get stuck at the 10-yard line. Second down, Lonnie gets blitzed by Lou and throws the Trev in the middle. It's picked off by Pig, who runs it back for the touchdown. If you look here, Pig was reading Lonnie's eyes. And so when he attempted to throw the Trev, Pig jumps the route. Meek's going to get the 2-point conversion. 16-0, Riot Squad.
And the thing about this play here is, if you look at Pig, he pretty much knew that as Lonnie was being pressured, he knew his target. He knew exactly where he was going to. Lonnie was going to go for Trev in the middle right there. Trev was open, or at least that's what he thought, until Pig comes in and cuts off this pass. That is a great defensive play. One thing I can say about Pig is that he still has that defensive mind.
Yeah.
He knows exactly how to read certain quarterbacks, and that is how he's able to get this great play.
And Lonnie struggled with this. He's known for the defenders reading his eyes, the pressure coming in, and him throwing the ball to the other team. He has to limit that because he's costing his team's points. Third down, Lonnie on 4 rush throws a heck in the gap for a nice game picking up the first down. Lonnie on 4 rush throws a nut in the middle, picked off by Lou. Lou gets flagged for spiking the Browns ball, but he gives Riot Squad another opportunity to score points. Lonnie again making a mistake.
And this is another person that's been emerging on this team as a star, as pretty much an all-star level player, because he's been doing it on both sides of the ball, at putting up points on offense and also locking up on defense and getting interceptions and causing quarterbacks havoc. So this is a good play by Lou, making something happen on defense and getting their offense back on the field.
Riot Squad gets the ball. They're going to drive all the way to the 15-yard line in 6 plays with huge gains on the play. Third down, on 4 rush, Ramsey gets sacked by Hector. Great play by Hector, coming up with the sack. Last down, Ramsey's blitzed by Buck. Throws it up, incomplete, turn off on downs, giving the ball back to the Browns. Great defensive stand by the Browns defense.
And the Browns lock up here, even though they make a mistake on offense, they're able to fix it by locking up on defense. Their defense saves them in this drive here. This could have gotten the game very bad for them, but they fix it by getting their offense back on the field, locking up on defense, and that is a great way to play on the field there.
Lonnie drives the team to the 10-yard line in 5 plays. Last down on 4 rush, Lonnie finds Trev in the corner of the end zone for the touchdown. Rel gets the interception, but Lonnie throws the touchdown. If you look here, who is London guarding? He's not guarding nobody. He makes that mistake, and Trev is wide open. 16-6, Riot.
And it seems like London is, again, just like what Sleeper was doing on the other side, trying to read Lonnie and seeing what he's doing, but not paying attention to Trev's route. Route cuts inside, and then cuts to the corner real quick before London was able to react, and Lonnie was able to put it right there for Trev. That was an easy touchdown.
It's 16-6. Second down, Ramsey's blitzed by Buck, sacked by Hector, taking us into halftime. 16-6, Riot Squad with the lead. If I'm Browns, Lonnie cannot turn the ball over. He already has 2 turnovers. He cannot afford that. He has to be able to make score points without turning the ball over. Once he gets that down, we'll be okay, but he already gave up 1 by throwing an interception, pick 6.
And with Riot Squad, everybody, they're doing their job. They're scoring points. They're locking up on defense and giving Browns problems on their offensive side. So what I need to do is just play safe, not make any mistakes, and keep consistent with my play here, and I think we have this game in the bag.
We're going to jump right into the second half. Browns have bad field position on the throw-off start at the 10-yard line. They struggle to move the ball. They have to punt. On first down, Ramsey on 4 rush throws deep to Amir, picked off by Black, giving the ball back to Browns. And if you look here, JP was wide open in the gap, but for some reason, Ramsey with a 10-point lead, decided to throw a bomb and gave the Browns the ball back.
Well, you already picture that's Ramsey's game. So he's gonna go deep regardless of what. Unfortunately here, he forces that pass because JP was wide open on the sideline with some room to run. That's a no-brainer for most quarterbacks, but Ramsey lives and dies by the deep pass, and that's exactly what happened. He was able to throw an interception here. That is something they didn't need at this point in the game.
After a few plays getting the first down, Lonnie on forward rush throws to Buck on the sideline for a nice game. Third down, Lonnie gets blitzed by Lou and throws the Trev across the middle for a decent game in the red zone. Last down, Lonnie finds Nut in the front of the end zone for the touchdown, putting them back into the game. With the extra point, is tipped and caught by Nut. 16-13, Browns back in the game, down 3.
And if you looked at the first 2 drives in this game, you would think that the Browns are out of it because they were losing 16-0,
Exactly.
and they got an interception after that drive. So because of that, you would think that the game is over.
Yep.
But now Riot Squad and mainly Ramsey's
let them back in the game.
He's pretty much handing the game back to the Browns and getting them back in. That's not something you do, especially now in the second half when you had this game in the bag and now you're throwing interceptions.
Ramsey gets the ball back. Second down, Ramsey on forward rush is sacked by Heck. Third down, Ramsey's blitzed by Buck, rolls left, throws the Lou on the sideline for a decent game, picking up the first down. Second down, Ramsey throws a tone on the sideline for a decent game. Third down, Ramsey on forward rush throws deep to Lou in the gap, underthrown, picked off by Buck, giving the ball back to the Browns. If you look here, that's a bad throw by Ramsey, but not only was it a terrible throw, if you look here, Naheem was wide open in the middle, and Ramsey tries to get a home run, and it's picked off.
And the same mistake he made in the last drive is the same mistake he makes in this drive. That is yet another interception, giving the game back to the Browns. You have opportunities to drive down, chop up the field. Naheem is wide open in the middle. You don't even look at him. You're looking deep, and that's why you're forcing turnovers here. And you're almost pretty much handing the game to him like, yeah, we don't want this game. Here you go, Browns.
Lonnie drives to the 6-yard line in 6 plays with big gains. Last down, a forward rush. Lonnie finds Trey in the back of the end zone for the touchdown. If you look here, JP believes he was held, but there's no call made on the rush, and they're going to score the game. London doesn't see Trey behind them. 19-16, Browns take the lead.
And if you look, this is the play I want to look at right here. The blocking by Goon, if you look, JP is not being held by this block.
Not
if you're looking here, JP is not being held. The thing is, JP is not moving to show that Gooney was holding him, but I don't think he was held at all anyway. But if you look here, they do not see Trev in the corner, in the back corner, and that is why Lonnie's able to find him. They didn't see him in the corner. It seems like they're trying to watch Lonnie's eyes a little too much, and that is why they're not tracking the receivers, and they're finding openings in the gaps of the end zone. And again, Trev gets into the end zone. This is from Ramsey's turnovers. Now they're putting up points. Almost every time he turned over the ball, they were able to score.
Now they're going to get the ball back. There's 7 seconds left, and they're near the first down. Ramsey's blitzed by Buck, scrambles, throws it deep to Amir, picked up by G Black. Meeks was open on the opposite side, but Browns get the win, 19-16. Great come-away win for the Browns.
And if I gotta say this, on the last 3 drives that that Riot Squad got, Ramsey threw 3 interceptions. That is horrible, and that is just a crime. If that's a criminal way to give away the game. It's like your quarterback is robbing your team of the game when you're throwing interceptions that way. He was forcing those passes. He's not looking at receivers that's open, and that is going to kill the team if Ramsey keeps playing this way. They're not going to be able to win the games they need to as long as he's like this.
And in the second half, the Browns had the ball 1, 2, 3. They had the ball 3 times and they scored 2 possessions. That is great offense by Lonnie. Great way. I don't know what Jingle told him in the second half, but Lonnie looked better throwing against a great defense. And you know what's the one problem we did not hear this whole game? I didn't hear sacks on Riot Squad side. Did you hear Lonnie get sacked?
And that is a good point. Yes.
Cannot pressure the quarterback anymore without King. They're in trouble. I know what Ramsey did. Don't get me wrong. Ramsey made mistakes, critical mistakes, but they cannot pressure the quarterback. Last year, Smoke had how many sacks?
He had 16.
League record. Right now, King had how many sacks?
9.
And he was on a pace to break the record.
Yes.
They had 2 great defenses with 2 great pass rushers who gave the defense, who brought pressure and gave the defense opportunity to make plays. You didn't have no pressure this game.
No.
Landy was able to get the game plan together in the second half and score. This team is in trouble unless they find somebody who can pressure the quarterback. They're in trouble.
But it's hard to find somebody that can pressure the quarterback over and over again. They just found somebody that could take up the shoes of Smoke's play last year in King, and now they lose King. Yeah. I don't know who else they can put in that position to play at that high level, at least not this late in the season. So yes, I would say that they have some problems that they have to fix or they have to deal with, because you have that and you have Ramsey turn over the ball at will. And there's no way you can win anything, win a game, let alone a championship, if you have your team playing this way.
They have no pass rush.
Yeah.
This team took a major step back without King. They're in trouble.
And they have another game to go.
Yeah, they're in trouble. They got YMM. And now they are no longer undefeated. So hopefully Ghost can have the special effect when you hear it. It should be a cork popping. And that's, once again, you'll see the picture, the Rose G's, the last remaining undefeated team to win the championship. Well, every year we have an opportunity for a team to try to win it, and they don't. Nobody has won undefeated since Rose G's.
Well, and that's an accomplishment that no team is able to, come through. Even Carver winning 3 in a row hasn't been able to do it.
Wasn't undefeated, right?
Yes, they weren't able to do it in that way. So, obviously most teams are not worried about it.
Yeah, because it's icing on the cake.
Yes, but that would have been kind of nice going into the playoffs undefeated. So,
well, we're gonna take another break. We're gonna get off live for a quick minute. I'm gonna hit up Charlie, coach of Rep City, and we're gonna attempt to talk to him really quick and have a quick interview with him, and then we'll be right back. So hopefully, if I can reach out and speak to him, we'll go live. If not, I'll go live at the end of the game, and then they give some of my final talks before we wrap up. All right? We'll be right back. Next game up, Carver Mobb versus High Rollers. Now, Carver coming in, they won 2 out of the last 3 games. One of those games, they lost to them Gettys 7-6. But then they beat Super Friends 18-13, and they got a 4th win both to Don't Sleep. They haven't been a high caliber team you expected them to be this season, but that'll happen anytime a team loses a Boo Boo and Oz. But they've still been winning games, so you got to give them their respect for what they've been able to do this season.
Well, Carver Mobb has always been a team that, regardless of who's on the field, they find ways to win.
Yeah.
And a lot of people already observing Carver Mobb says, as long as Chuck is out there, regardless of who else is on the field, he can make things happen when whoever's on the field. Yep. So that is one advantage that Carver Mobb has. They have the best quarterback in TFL playing for this team. So they always have a chance regardless of what happens on the field. And that is why they make it happen regardless.
And High Rollers come in, they won their last 2 out of 3 games. They beat Main Event, they beat Slaughterhouse, but they lost to them Gettys. So they're coming into this game looking to turn around their winning streak. They've been playing up and down. They haven't played the way that you expected them to, but they've been winning games nevertheless.
And I think that they kind of slowed down ever since they had that game with them Gettys. The weather wasn't great, and then afterwards, and Nelson wasn't here for their doubleheader, so that kind of slowed down their team a little bit. I think they split that week in terms of wins, but that slowed down their play, and I'm guessing Nelson is going to be a little bit off. He hasn't been in a few weeks or whatever. He has to get his stride back, get his rhythm back, and it's going to be important in this game here.
Well, we're going to jump right into the game first. First down, Nelson is blitzed by Joey and sacked by Mijo. Mijo played with YMM last year. He came back home, played with Carver, and it's crazy. It's good. The only one that can control that two-way monster is Pans with Happy Feet and Mijo. He has both guys giving the ball. That's probably going to hurt Happy Feet's numbers to go to the All-Star game, but they don't care. They're trying to four-peat. Great play by Mijo. Nelson with 2 passes to Los for a nice gain, getting him a first down. Second down, Nelson gets blitzed by Happy Feet, throws deep to Tommy in the end zone, overthrown. If you look here, Rubio was wide open. Third down, Nelson on forward rush with Los blocking, still gets sacked by Mijo, and the High Rollers are going to have to punt.
And one thing about Mijo is he's not as fast as Happy Feet, but he has a long arm, long wingspan, and because of that, he's able to reach over blockers and still make tags, and that's exactly what happens here. Even though Los is a big guy, he can block. Mijo's able to reach around him and still get the sack. That is a great way to pressure the quarterback and get a play.
And I think what hurt them was second down. Rubio was open, but Nelson attempted to go downfield to Tommy in the end zone. Now, we've seen Tommy make them catches in the end zone, but I think it was a bad time for him to do that, and that's going to hurt them on their drive. Chuck gets the ball for Carver. 3 passes with a nice gain, picking up the first. Each was at least 10 to 15 yards. During the free play, Chuck throws the Sal wide open in the gap. If you look here, Akon stepped over the line early, and he leaves Sal's open. Akon then again gets flagged for stepping over early on third, and the play is redone. Fourth down, next play, Chuck finds Sal cutting in the back of the end zone for the touchdown, 6-0. Carver takes the lead.
And when you have penalties like that over and over again, it kind of tires out your defense because it lengthens the drive and it keeps them on the field that much longer, and it gets the quarterback a chance to figure out what your defense is doing and get through it. And that's exactly what happened. You don't give Chuck most opportunities to get things done because that's exactly what he's going to do.
Nelson throws deep to Mestre in the gap, knocked away by Jalen. After getting the first, Nelson throws a time in the middle for a nice gain. Second down, Nelson throws a Los on the sideline. Los cannot maintain possession of the ball, incomplete. Third down, Nelson gets blitzed by Ricky, sacked by Mijo, and High Rollers have to punt. 2 times they had the ball, they have to punt. 2 times Mijo was able to get there for the sack. Ricky was able to make pressure blitzing. This team has to learn to block these guys or they're going to hurt themselves. They have to punt on the second possession. Chuck with 3 plays for a nice gain, including 2 to West, going to pick up some big gains. Last down, High Rollers get flagged for blitzing 2 guys. Replay on down. After a short pass on first down, Chuck throws to Butter, who makes a nice catch for a decent gain. Second down, Chuck gets blitzed by Akon, throws deep to side in the end zone. Drop. Carver will have to punt. Less than a minute to go. Chuck killed that whole drive. Sal has to make this catch. It was a difficult catch, but he has to catch the ball. Carver has to punt. Great way to hold by High Rollers.
And I think that they got by on that drive because Chuck was driving. He was moving the ball the way he usually does, getting big chunks of 10 to 15 yards, driving down the field. This is the Chuck that can kill any defense that's out there as long as he's able to drive down the field. He takes whatever you give him and gets more. But unfortunately here, Sal is not able to hold down that pass, and the stagnates their drive in the end.
First down, Nelson throws a Rubio in the middle for a decent gain. Second down, Nelson gets blitzed by Alvaro, scrambles and runs, but Mijo tagged him for a short gain. The question was Nelson tagged? Before we get to that, if you look here, Tommy's open in the middle, Mestre's open on the sideline. I know we're getting the tag is going to be questionable, but the bottom line is he had guys open. It looks like he was looking to run the whole way.
And it's not that he was looking to run the whole way, and that's the point. That's the problem with this play here. Nelson sees Mijo getting through the block, and he looks back, and then he decides to run at the last second. He could have made a throw before any of that happened, and because of that, Mijo was able to get in the vicinity to make a tag. I think he kind of missed on that tag. The ref kind of blew the whistle early, but Nelson still has to get that pass off. He shouldn't be waiting till the last minute to run, because even if it was a miss, you're giving an opportunity for the ball giver to get you anyway, and that's exactly what happened.
That's going to take us into the half, 6-0. If I'm High Rollers, we have the ball 3 times, and we have nothing to show for it. We have no punt, no points. We punted twice, and the third time ran into half. We have to put up points against Carver. Our defense is making mistakes, and even with the mistakes the defense making, they only gave up 6 points. There is no way you could hold Carver Mobb to only this amount. The guys gotta sell it, gotta play better.
And right now, even though Carver only scored 6 points and a half, I don't think they worry too much about it. I know that I'm pretty sure that they have a strategy for the second half. One thing I can say is the defense is keeping High Rollers on their toes. They're keeping them from getting any rhythm. Joey of Carver approached me. He said he didn't like the standings that I had with them being under the Super Friends. They have a better defense. But you know what? They're proving me wrong here. They're playing hard, and they're keeping a top team like the High Rollers this season from getting anything done. Hopefully it's enough to get this game to win.
Chuck on 4 rush throws deep to Cabby, who has a step on the defender and is caught in the end zone for the touchdown, giving them a 13-0 lead with Bud getting the extra point. The question was, did Chuck step over the line?
And I think that this is a very close play.
Right.
If you look at it, first of all, there's guys in front of the line with Chuck chasing him and anything like that. So it's going to be hard for even us to see with the camera. It's too close to call. I don't think that it's enough to determine a flag. I think that it's, like I said, it's too close, and we're looking at it from a camera, and we can't even really see a real difference from where his foot is and where the ball, the scrimmage line is. So yes, he didn't throw the flag. You let them play the game, and there you go. It wasn't a flag there.
And for once, we're gonna agree. I agree with that. If it was over the line, it was by an inch. You do not throw that flag. That is not worth a flag to throw. You let the guys play it out. It wasn't a clear-cut step over the line. That's a good way to hold the flag by the official. And that's just Cabby getting a step on the defender, scoring a touchdown. Now, right now, score 13 left. First down, Nelson throws Ruby on the sideline, who runs for a nice gain, picking up the first. Second down, Nelson throws to Tommy in the middle for a decent gain. Third down, Nelson gets blitzed by Ricky, throws to Ruby on the middle. That pass is dropped. Last down, Nelson on full rush throws to Akon in front of the end zone, short, incomplete, turnover on downs. That is 4 times they had the ball and no points they got to show for it.
And right now, their offense is stagnant, and that's what's been killing them. Their defense obviously hasn't been playing their best. They're playing against the 3-time defending champs, so there's but so much they can do. But their offense is killing them right now. Nobody's getting open. Nelson's actually missing guys, that's open. But another thing is he's under pressure. He doesn't have a lot of time out there, so it's hard to make a quick decision when you have guys in your face on every play. So I think that's why this offense is struggling right now.
Chuck throws short to Ricky, who pitches it back to Chuck, who runs for a decent gain. Third down, Chuck throws a Cabby on the sideline, drop, but caught by Jalen for a decent gain, picking up the first. Next down, Chuck throws to Dre, cutting on the sideline, incomplete. Number 10 gets flagged for the pass interference. Was this a pass interference?
And if you look here, yes, it was a pass interference.
Clear cut.
There was too much contact here that wouldn't merit a flag. Yes, he put contact there. He got there a little too early, and that's what earned him the flag.
Second down, Chuck gets blitzed by Mestre, throws to Ricky, who runs left into the end zone for the touchdown. Nice blocking from Cable Guy, giving Carver Mobb the lead and the win. 19-0, Carver Mobb over High Rollers.
And I'm just going to start with High Rollers. They kind of got upset because there was a lot of flags that was thrown their way. But if you look throughout the game, the majority of those flags was Akon crossing the line early, and that's what killed them earlier in the first half. And even though they only scored 6 points, those flags kind of come back to haunt you later on in the game. And it gets your team inclined to get flags thrown on you when you're a repeat offender. So again, there were a lot of flags thrown on the High Rollers, but I don't think that it was enough to determine exactly what happened in the game. This team just struggled on offense. Nelson couldn't get anything done, and he didn't have much time on the field, and I think that's what dictated why they weren't able to put up any points.
And once again, Carver moves on. They've been winning, and they have played all the tough teams, and they only lost to one of the tough teams. They played all the tough teams, and they've beaten everybody except them getters. So you got to give this team their credit. I believe they only got 2 games left, 2 to 3 games. They got main event, CMM, and there's one more team I believe I got to check. But Carver's winning, and people are trying to stop them from getting back to the championship.
Yeah,
it's a little easier said than done.
Yeah, and again, it's hard to say, well, we got to stop the 3-time defending champs from getting back into the championship.
Right.
That's what every team has been saying since they got in this league. They've been wanting to beat them, but they haven't figured out a way to. And that's because Carver, regardless of the situation, figures ways to get things done, and that's why they're a 3-time champ. When you have a formula like that, it's hard to beat them.
Correct. All right, we're going to wrap this one up. We'll be right back with Real Tough Talk. Next game up, ILD versus Street Fam. Street Fam is playing well. They're coming in right now 4-2. They won the last 3 games. They won 2-1. They beat the Eastern Conference defending champs Wyman. They beat the New Journey team Dutchman, but they lost to 99 where they couldn't even score at all. They lost 12-2. So they're coming in. They're trying to be a little more efficient, but they've been playing a lot better. They surprised a lot of teams in the league, and lucky for them because they're in a tough division.
And the thing about the Street Fam is they are in control of their own destiny. With them, they have the ability to decide how far they're gonna go. That's
Right.
how talented this team is. They're not a team that's gonna blow anybody out, but they're
Right.
a team that can compete with anybody and find ways to win. They just don't always do that. They're very inconsistent, and sometimes they start to implode when things go badly. And I think that's the problem with this team. They gotta learn to stick together even when games get bad and figure out ways to get through them. They haven't gotten to that place yet.
ILD is coming in right now, and this is a team that went to the Final Four last year. This team is coming in 1-3. Now they have a doubleheader, and the doubleheader could turn everything around for them. But they're coming into this game 1-3. And remember, they're trying not to have to play a wild card game, and they're in the same division as 99 Problems, Brotherhood, Flying Dutchman, and Never Scared. You figure Brotherhood is going to be one of the wild card teams.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have any wins.
Yeah.
The question is ILD, can ILD get first, second, or third? Because if they fall into fourth place, you have to play a wild card game, which they're trying to get out, and they need these games to turn the season around.
Well, I think that they can, regardless of how they're playing. That's not the team that you see on the field. They have a team that always makes it to the Eastern Conference, to the Final Four every single time, and it's not much difference in this team. There's a few guys that's not here.
A few guys is not here. Listen, the bad man.
Oh, your favorite player
is not on the field.
Okay.
And no disrespect to Slasher, but the reigning quarterback of the year, the bad man, because he's a bad man. He's not here this year. So you got to sit down and say that this team was expected to struggle. I didn't expect them to struggle like this. Tony hasn't been here, the coach.
Yeah.
So the whole team has not been here. Jesus has been injured. He'll play today, but he's been injured. Ace has been injured. But they made two big key signings. They signed Buckwheat and they signed Matrix. Those two signings could get them over the hump only if they get the bad man back. Because I don't think Shorty is going to be able, or Slash is going to be able to take that team to the promised land.
And I think that he's not going to take Collins to your comments, as always. You always count him out.
Well, we got to see these next two games, how we look.
Then let's see these two games.
We're going to jump right into the game. We're going to see how Slasher does. Street Fam with bad field position on the kickoff. Third down, Spaz throws it easy in the gap for a decent game, but Street Fam is forced to punt. Next drive, Slasher with two passes for a decent game, but cannot get much further. IOD has to punt. First down, Spaz gets blitzed by Jesus, throws deep to Trey on the silo, has a step on Eminem for a big game, picking up the first down. Spaz throws the preacher on the sideline for a decent game. Last down, Spaz throws it up in the middle, incomplete pass, turnover on down. They was not able to move the ball. They didn't have enough yards on the catches. They was not able to really get in good position, only short dink-dunk routes, and they hurt them. They end up turning over the ball.
And on every drive, they need at least one big play. They didn't have that on that drive, a big chunk of yardage to move down the field. They were taking two small passes, two small plays, and I think that ILD's defense kind of locked up and kind of gave them didn't give them enough to drive down the field, and they ended up turning over the ball.
After two incomplete passes, Slasher those are close in the gap. Nice game, but they can't get any further. Turnover on down. And once again, ILD had the ball twice, and they had one time they punt, the second time they turn over the ball. Slash is not efficiently able to move the ball, and he's hurting the team by not able to get him in better field position. First down, Spaz on 4 of us, throws to Will in the middle. Jesus with contact, incomplete pass. Spaz on 4th down, gets sacked by PJ. 3rd down, Spaz gets blitzed and sacked by Eminem. Street Fam is going to have to punt. That is 3 times Street Fam had the ball, and they cannot move the ball. Twice they have to punt, 1 time they turned it over.
I mean, but again, the offense is struggling, but you can't take anything away from the defense. They're both locking up on both sides.
I don't think you always say that. It's not locking up. Both quarterbacks are playing terrible.
Okay, but you can't say that the defense is just standing there and not doing anything, so you got to give them some type of
I guess I'm playing defense right now then.
So you're saying that both sides are just standing there.
It's more of the quarterback struggling than the defense stopping it.
Listen, but if the defense is not playing or doing their job, regardless of how the quarterback is struggling, they're gonna find a way.
You're struggling right now. How about that? You're struggling right now.
Well, you're struggling with your bad man theories and all of that. You love this guy so much. Let's talk about how he ended the season. I'm not even gonna do that. Listen. We could do that all day, but I'm going to be right in the end. Let's just finish this game.
Slasher gets the ball back for ILD. Slasher throws a deep bomb to Eddie on the sideline for a big game, picking up first down. Slasher throws the Matrix in the gap. One-on-one against Shy. Matrix goes up the ladder, catches the ball on Shy, and I'll say it for you. You got Moss. Shy is in somebody else's highlight. Welcome to the UFL Matrix, making a great impact play. 6-0 ILD.
And he does this to a former MVP of the league. But I don't think it matters because I don't think Matrix got that memo. He wasn't here when that happened. He's just a regular player here. He jumps over Shaw. Shaw is there playing defense, but it doesn't matter. And Slasher puts it right there where Matrix can make a play. So regardless of what you say, Slasher's able to make a throw like that and they get a
He threw a great throw to Eddie. Eddie's a former All-Star.
Yes.
Great throw to Eddie, getting Eddie involved in the passing game.
Just to set that up.
And then he goes upstairs against Matrix, knowing Matrix had the height advantage on Shot.
Yes.
I gotta start putting respect on his name, Slasher, if he can keep this consistent, because he's reading the defense and knew exactly where to attack him. On the kickoff with 10 seconds left, Shy runs in the middle, cuts to the sideline, runs all the way to the end zone for the touchdown, taking us into the half, 6-6. That has to be a top 5 nominee, and that is the former MVP saying, you can do something, I can do it better, and all will witness the authority of my power. And he scores a touchdown.
Oh gosh. Listen, at the end of the day, that was payback. You know, he got a highlight, so now he puts up a highlight on his own with that kick return. That's one thing that Shah is a multifaceted player.
Yep.
He can play defense and lock up. He can play offense and be a deep threat, and he can also kick return. So this man can pretty much do everything, and he's showing out here, making up for his past mistake on defense.
It's time for us to turn it up. Spaz got hurt on one of the throws. He hurt his hand. He's going to struggle a little bit, but it's time for us to prove that we can score other ways. We can do many things to score. Shine is the key of this team. He's the key factor. He has to get back to the MVP status. He does it with the kick return, getting them right back into the game. We're okay. We just got to put up more points.
And I think the way they ended the first half with Matrix getting that pass, I think that Slasher needs to go to him a little bit more and involve him and Eddie in the game a little bit more. I haven't heard too much of Eddie this season. I think that Slasher needs to find a way to connect to him the same way that Adi did last season, and I think that they can go far. So I see Slasher making more throws later in the second half, and I see ILD getting more physical in the second half because I don't think that they can sit well knowing that they were able to allow a kick return back in the first half.
After getting the first down, Slasher throws it to Matrix on the sideline. Matrix pitches it to Sniz, who runs all the way to the end zone for the touchdown. Sniz also gets the 2-point conversion, 14-6 ILD.
And I think that Sniz right now is flirting with an all-star spot. He's been playing very well this season. One thing you got to notice is he's a big guy, but he has speed for a big guy, and he has moves. He makes guys miss. He's been doing that since early in the season. He's been playing well these past couple games, and he's another target that Slash can go to.
And once again, Slash is getting Matrix involved in the game, and Matrix is assisting his other guys by finding ways to score. Great play by Matrix, great throw by Slasher. He's getting to the end zone. This is the ILD that loves to punish people and score points. Third down, Spaz throws a project in the sideline for a nice game, picking up the first down. Third down and third and goal. Spaz gets blitzed by Eddie. Finds Chris open in the end zone for the touchdown. If you look here, Matrix loses him in the route. Chris is able to get behind him for the touchdown. 14-12. Street Fam is back in the game.
And if you see here, Matrix is running towards the right side with Chris, but Chris stops and reverses and goes the opposite way. By the time Matrix sees that that's what happened, the ball is already coming. That is a great route by Chris and a great way for Slasher to read that and get the ball right when he needs to.
And Matrix got to step it up defensively because we've seen guys going after him. We've seen YMM go after him with Bones, but Bones scored a touchdown on him.
Yeah.
And now we've seen Street Fam go after him and they scored a touchdown with Chris. He has to show these guys he's a capable defender, and he's making mistakes so far this season. Third down, Slasher gets blitzed by Preacher, throws the Matrix on the sideline for a decent game, picking up the first down. Second down, Slasher throws the Jesus on the sideline for a decent game. Fourth and goal, Slash on 4 rush, throws the Matrix, who's cut in the back of the end zone for the touchdown. 21-12, Jesus gets the extra point, ILD takes the lead.
And whatever mistake he made on defense, he makes up for it on offense, cutting in the back of the end zone. They don't read it. They're not communicating as he's moving, and that is why Slash is able to find him. It seems like Sweet Fam is not communicating as he's on his route. They need to find ways to cut that out, because when they don't communicate, it costs them points, and that's exactly what happened here.
They're down 10? 9? They're down 9. They got to score quick and try to get the onside. On the kickoff, Prodigy gets the ball, pitches it to Shy, who runs to the sideline, ends up losing the ball on his own. ILD gets the ball back, ending the game. ILD with the win, 21-12. They don't even have an opportunity to attempt to try to score. They give the game on the kickoff.
And that has been what's been going on with Sweet Fam. Early in the game, they had bad field position, and they end up struggling early. And now they end the game on a kick return. I think that Shot tried to do a little too much on that one.
I agree.
And he lost the ball. After the kick return he had in the first half, he tried to do it again here. Unfortunately, he didn't have the path to do it, and he ends up losing the ball, and pretty much with that play, ending the game.
From my idea, I feel good. You know what I mean? We're back in it. We won a very, very important game. We needed to win. It wasn't a divisional game, but we needed this game. We're trying to jump back in it right now, and we just got our second win of the season. Right now, we're 2-3. If we can win this next game versus the Browns, we could be 3-3, but they'll take it. If I'm ILD, I'll take the win. We're going to be right back. We're going to take our next break. ILD with the win over Street Fam, 21-12. We'll be right back on Real Tough Talk. Next game up, we got the Browns versus ILD. Great matchup. Right now, the Browns coming to this game against ILD 4-0. ILD has never beat the Browns in the UFL.
And not for lack
including the playoffs. Sorry.
And not for lack of trying. A lot of those games are very close games. Some games not so close. The Browns always had the advantage in the end. I never really understood why ILD always fell short against the Browns, but they always did. That was when they played their worst football. But I think that they're looking to change that this season. They have to, because they're playing some of their worst football in the season so far. They've never started a season playing the way that they have. Catching up, not being on the top of the division. So they have a lot to make up, and I think that they have no time to worry about a past rivalry with the Browns. This is another game that they have to win.
Well, we're going to jump right into the game. After getting the first down, Slasher throws a stance on the sideline, who shakes Sleepy and runs for a nice gain. Third down, Slasher gets blitzed and throws to Matrix in the corner of the end zone, almost picked up by Sleepy. Last down, Slasher scrambles with blocking and finds Brandon in front of the end zone for the touchdown. Matrix gets the extra point, 7-0 ILD.
And they start early. This is one thing that ILD wasn't able to do in games prior. They're able to take the first strike. Slasher's now taking the rhythm that he had in the last game and bringing it onto this game. Now he's getting Brandon in the game. And if he can get other players like that in the game, I think the Browns are in trouble.
Londy gets the ball back for the Browns on 4 rush, throws the heck on the sideline. It's almost picked off by Eminem. After getting the first down, Londy throws a Sleepy in the gap. It's dropped, picked off by Slasher, who pitches it to Jesus, who runs it all the way to the end zone for the touchdown. Trev gets the interception, but it's still 13-0 ILD. We've seen 2 times that Londy has thrown the pick 6. This one wasn't his fault, it was dropped. But it's still a pick 6. They give up points, and they killed their team. Last game versus Riot Squad, they gave up a pick run back to Pig. This time they give a pickup run back to Jesus, and they're shooting themselves in the foot.
And the last 2 drives, I think they kind of shot themselves in the foot. The first one was Sleepy not catching that interception. He had a clear interception. He drops it, and ILD is able to score like a few plays later. In this one, a routine pass to Sleepy, he ends up dropping, and they end up getting the interception and running it back for another 6 points. So Sleepy right now on 2 drives already killing them. He got to make up for that, because these are 2 drives they can't afford.
Trev drops the kickoff, putting them in bad field position again. We've seen him do the same thing against Riot Squad. Lonnie gets blitzed by Eddie, throws a nut in the gap for a nice gain. After the first down, Lonnie gets blitzed by Eddie and throws a nut in the gap, picked off by Matrix, giving the ball back to ILD. Matrix making his impact felt finally defensively, and makes a big play here.
And Matrix has been stepping up the last couple games. He's been playing big.
Can he make an all-star team?
I mean, listen, we have to see a few more games, but I think that he's on his way because as soon as he got here, he's been playing at a high level. The only thing is he got to fix up the little defensive laps that he had. But other than that, I think that he's well on his way to have an all-star berth, even though he came here late in the season.
With time running out, Slasher drives all the way to the 3-yard line and 6 plays for a huge gain. 4th and goal, Slasher finds Jesus in the back of the end zone for the touchdown. Burt gets the extra point, 20-0. Browns get flagged for the late hit, and now you see the frustration building up.
And this Browns team is starting to kill themselves, and IOD is taking advantage every step of the way. There's another drive where they take advantage of the Browns' mistakes. Now Jesus is getting in the game. All from Matrix play early in the game. So now everybody's in tune with each other. They're putting up points on offense, and they're keeping the Browns out of their game.
Last down, last play before half, Blondie throws it up, intercepted by Matrix, taking us into the half, 20-0, IOD with the lead. If I'm IOD, we are finally getting everything together on all cylinders. We just put away Street Fam. We're playing the Browns. We start off early, knock them in the mouth early, and we feel good up 20-0. And we're getting the money back that we paid for Matrix because he's showing that he's money on the field, making great plays. This is why they went out and got him.
And the Browns right now, they have been killing themselves since the first drive. On defense, I would have to say that was the way that they was heading for the downward spiral with that interception dropped by Sleepy and then that dropped pass by Sleepy. Then they're starting to drop. All these things are happening bad, and IOD is taking advantage every single time that they mess up.
Second half, after getting the first down, Lonnie with 2 passes for a decent game. Browns can't get any closer, turnover and down. Slasher, on second down, Slasher throws a coast in the gap, who cuts it in for a nice game. Third down, Slasher's blitzed, throws to Ruben in the gap for a decent game. Browns believe the ball hit the ground during the catch. First down by IOD. What do you think? Can you tell?
I think that was a catch. I think that Ruben got his hand underneath the ball.
Correct.
And there was no movement of the ball. He had complete control. So I think that is a good call for a catch for a first down.
Slash on 4 rush gets sacked by Hector. Second down, Slash on 4 rush with nice blocking. Kuda, Slasher throws the coast in the gap, who gets through 2 defenders, runs all the way for the touchdown, 26-0. Now it's a laugh up by IOD.
And they're pretty much doing whatever they want in this game. And they are feeling good about it because now this is payback for all the games that IOD was able to come up short against the Browns. All they're looking forward to is if they get this win, that they can do it again if they face them in the playoffs. Second
down, Lonnie gets blitzed by Eddie, throws the Hector on the sideline for a decent game. After 2 short passes on 4th down at the 7-yard line, Lonnie on 4 rush and sacked by Kuda. Kuda pushes Goonie back to Lonnie and gets the sack for the turnover. What do you think of that play by Kuda?
And that was just him outpowering Goonie right there, pushing him all the way back. Lonnie not scrambling and staying in position there gives Kuda the easy play right there because he's still right there. All Kuda has to do is push Goonie back and Lonnie's right there. He was supposed to scramble and make it a little bit more harder for Kuda. He doesn't do that and it leads to a sack. The sack in the game, IOD come away with a blowout win over the Browns, 26-0.
This is the worst game I've ever seen the Browns play. This was atrocious, terrible, pitiful, despicable, wreckable, impregnable.
What? Okay, now you're just throwing things out there.
That's how bad it was. They need to create a word on how bad it was and burn that word because this is the worst I've ever seen the Browns play.
And there's no excuses this time. Early in the season, you could say, okay, they weren't able to score, and that's why they were losing. But here, they have the quarterback in Londy. They have the defense, but they just didn't play like they're the Browns. Drop passes, interceptions dropped, not moving the ball to offense, and just a lot of things just going wrong. Who are you calling?
I'm calling somebody to get my eyes fixed. Because they was damaged watching this game. They really hurt right now. Because this is one of the worst games I've ever seen the Browns play. They're usually a veteran team in the UFL. And I'm very disappointed. And on the other side, I have to bow down and give this man props. Slasher looked good.
Yeah.
In both games. He looked good. I'm not usually wrong. But I got to put respect on the man's name.
In your opinion.
And Matrix, once again, I thought it was a good signing. I thought he wasn't really going to be able to show and keep up with the league. He's showing great play. And he even have an opportunity to probably make the All-Star team. And if he could keep this pace going.
And he seems like a good fit for this team. He's
Correct.
able to fit right in. And one thing I could say about ILD that they're known to kill teams for is they are the kings of the pitch. They can pitch the ball and make a good play.
Say it again.
They are the kings of the pitch.
Yeah, they are.
And they are able to make a good play into a great play at any given point, and Matrix fits right into that. He's had plays like that in his own right with this team. So that is a good fit for them. That's another target for Slasher, making things easier for him. And they're looking good. They got 2 wins in a row in this game, and I think they're right back into competing in their division.
And I'm going to let you know about the division. With this win, with the 2 wins they got, they jumped right back in their division at 3-3. So they're back in it. This week, 99 has a doubleheader. 99 is 3-2. So everything can change. This whole division could change. Never Scared has a doubleheader. They're 2-4. They could jump back in it. You know what I mean? So you got Flying Dutchman, who's 1-4-1. They still have an opportunity to get out of the wild card spot because Brotherhood definitely locks up that first one. So you know this thing is still up in the air. It's still up in the air. Anybody can take this division, and that's where we love to have it. And on the Brown side, this was a devastating loss to them. They really needed that win, especially beating Riot Squad.
Yeah.
But they're still in it. They're 3-3. Right now, they'll be a wild card team. They need Street Fam to lose. So they got YMM got a big 2 games coming in. They got Rep City and they got 99 Problems. This can change the whole division all around the board. With Rep City, if Rep City can lose, you know, and Riot Squad could win, Riot Squad could jump back into first place. But if YMM could pick up 2 games, and Rep City loses and Riot Squad, YMM could jump to first place. Yeah. I mean, the Browns could jump up into second place. So there's a lot of things going on.
A lot of things that can happen in these next couple of games. A lot of teams on that side has doubleheaders, so things could change crazy. So again, that's why I said my standings that I made last week, they can change instantly, and it looks like that may change in the next coming weeks because again, it's hard to predict how these teams are going to end the season.
Exactly. We're going to wrap this game up. We're going to be right back. Real Tough Talk. ILD over the Browns. Blowout win, 26-0. We're going to be right back. Last game of the day. YMM versus Riot Squad. This is the game that everybody see. YMM is a little upset because they wanted YMM was upset because they wanted Riot to be undefeated when they played them.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they saw the Browns beat them. So they're, you know, kind of frustrated because they wanted to give them the first loss. But there seems to still be prepared to give them at least their second loss.
I mean, I would expect them to still come there ready to play because they're still Riot Squad, even though they're not the undefeated Riot Squad.
Right.
They're still Riot Squad, one of the top teams in the East right now. So they're looking to beat them to prove that they should be talked about in the same level as Riot Squad.
And Riot Squad, we've seen them pretty much give away the game versus the Browns. That was a game that they had in their hand. They was able to win that game, but Ramsey kind of gave the game back. I still say this team's in trouble because they don't got King for the rest of the season, and they lack a pass rush. Ramsey's making mistakes, but I think the bigger issue is King.
I don't know what you're talking about because it doesn't matter if King is getting 18 sacks out there.
He had 9 sacks.
Listen what I'm saying. It doesn't matter if he has 18 sacks out there, as long as Ramsey is throwing interceptions right back on first down, third down, or wherever. When you have receivers wide open, that's not a formula of wins. You don't win like that. And regardless of how good your defense is playing, when you put their offense back on the field so quickly, they're eventually going to get through that defense.
So are you trying to tell me that Ramsey's more important than King's play?
First of all, weren't you the first one to talk about that you got to put up points? So, okay, does a sack equal 6 points?
That's not what I'm saying.
No, but that's the point, right? Anybody watching out there, does a sack equal 6 points? Do you get 6 points from a sack? I don't think so. You need your offense to score. You need your quarterback to score. So because of that, the quarterback is more important than the ball giver. It doesn't matter what team you are and how good a ball giver you have. The quarterback is more important.
I don't know if you drank some Jekyll and Hyde potion and you're all different now, or you was Popeye, you ate your spinach, because all of a sudden you're sticking your chest out and you're, you can get loud all you want. But at the end of the day, without King, this team is not going to be the team we thought of. We seen smoke. The guy who broke the sack record, one give of the year, helped Riot in the playoffs.
Okay.
Now they lose King, about to break smoke record. Now they lose King. This team's in trouble.
But hold on. Last year, I believe they struggled to score.
Okay.
At the end of the day, even with smoke, getting sacks. So it doesn't matter. Were they undefeated last year?
No.
And they had the best ball giver in the league at that time. And they didn't have an undefeated season.
Okay.
All right. And they lost to Carver how many times? Because they couldn't score.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, you need a quarterback. That's what's more important. Look at Carver. They can have the best defense in the league. If they don't have Chuck playing Chuck football, they're not the Carver Mobb 3-time defending champs. So I don't care what you say about ball giver. It don't matter. You need a quarterback, and Ramsey is that quarterback, but he's not playing at the way that they need to right now.
Well, let's see how he does this game. After getting the first down, Corey on 4 rush, throws to Rico in the middle for a nice gain. Third down, Corey gets blitzed by Lou, throws deep to Santana in the middle. The pass is caught just past the end zone, out of bounds. Wyman have to punt. I think it's a good drive. Like I said, Corey kind of impressed me last week with the win against ILD. So I'm starting to come around a little bit by bit.
I don't think they're worried about if it's starting to come around. Listen,
I'm starting to come around a little bit. They don't able to have to punt this drive, but I'm coming around a little bit. He's showing me a little something.
Listen, it's either you're with them or you're not. They don't care at the end of the day. This is a bad drive by them. This is a bad way to start against a Riot Squad team that could put up 6 points on a dime.
True.
So you got to put up points. You got to put an effort to strike early if you want to come away with a win and keep the advantage on your side.
Ramsey with 3 passes, nice gain, getting them the first down. Second down, Ramsey throws to Amir in the middle for a decent gain. Third down, Ramsey throws to Meeks in the middle, drop, and Riot have to punt. Now, Ramsey's trying to go to his brother to get more yards and get him closer to the end zone. Meeks come up with a big drop. Riot's going to have to punt. You know, Ramsey's moving the ball efficiently. Not like last game, throwing interceptions, throwing the ball away. They didn't score, but at least it was safe throws he made. If he could keep this up, they should be all right. Corey with 3 passes, getting them to the 45-yard line. Last down, Corey throws to Ruben in the middle. Ruben makes a catch close to the ground for a decent gain. First down. Did the ball touch the ground?
And I think on this one, it could have. It's very close when you look at the camera. Anybody would see something different when it comes to the angle.
Right.
But it looks close enough.
And we always say when you have to look at the camera, it's at least you got to give the ref that type of leeway, because they don't have instant replay in their brain. They just see what goes on in a second and they call it. So we can't kill them. I think it's a catch. First down, Corey goes deep to Santana. London is there. London overshot the pass, caught by Santana for the touchdown. 6-0. Wyoming.
And they're able to take advantage now. They started slow on the first drive. Now they get their touchdown. They get their drive going. They're able to put up points, knowing that Riot Squad wasn't able to get it in their drive. They have the momentum now.
Yep.
All they got to do is one good stop on defense, and they have the advantage.
Ramsey on 4 plays drives all the way to the opposing 20-yard line. Third down, Ramsey on 4 rush, runs for a decent gain. Brown is flagged for illegal contact. Next down, Ramsey finds Luke cutting the back of the end zone for the touchdown, putting him back in the game, 6-6. If you look here, Luke catches Jeremy and Santana with the delayed route and scores. And one thing we've killed Ramsey about his mistakes. We got a praise to do, because he goes after one of the guys that I said is the best safety in the game, and he uses Lou to go right at him. Lou's a little taller than him. He's able to make the play, going after one of the best defenders in the league. Great play by Lou, great throw by Ramsey.
And one thing I got to say, about Ramsey is this. He lives and dies by the deep game, but at the same time, he's not afraid of throwing it no matter who's out there. He's not afraid of throwing it.
Type. Yeah.
So again, that can either make or break you. Again, here he takes advantage. He takes a chance here. Lou is open with a good route. They didn't expect that route by Lou, and that is why they were caught surprise. And that was a good touchdown there, catching them off guard.
On the kickoff, the ball is live. The ball is almost lost on the kickoff. Jeremy lets it bounce, but he gets it back. Wyman gets the ball, just avoiding disaster. Corey throws the bones in the middle for a decent gain. Second down, Corey goes to Rico in the gap. That ball is dropped. After getting the first down, Corey throws the bone in the middle for a big play. Fourth down, Corey throws to Wesley in the back of the end zone. Wesley catches the ball over London for the touchdown. Pig gets the interception on the extra point, but it's still 12-6. YMM takes the lead right back.
And this is just unfair. I'm not even gonna. Okay, do we say it? Did he? I think we should say it.
Yeah, you got Moss.
Yeah.
Well, you can say it again. Are we go on 3?
We gotta
be 1, 2, 3.
We gotta
go on 3.
We gotta be in sync. We gotta be in sync.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
You got Moss.
Listen, this was not fair. London has no size. Wesley has all the size advantage here with London. London was there, but there was nothing he could do at that point. That was just a pass to Wesley. Wesley's one of the tallest receivers out here, and that was pretty much an easy touchdown for him. Great way for Corey to get him the ball.
But you gotta admit now, they're going after London. This is 2 back-to-back touchdown passes. They're not scared of London. They're actually attacking him, and they scored 2 times on 2 possessions. They scored, and that's not a good look on the Riot Squad defense. First down, Ramsey throws deep to Meeks in the gaps. It's almost picked off by Jeremy. Third down, Ramsey throws deep to Lou, wide open on the sideline for a big gain, picking up the first down. Jeremy fell to the ground while guarding Lou. Ramsey then finds Lou again in the back of the end zone for the touchdown. If you look here, he catches on both Wesley and Jeremy for the touchdown, 12-12. And first of all, that is a great play by Lou. Once again, going after Jeremy. This time he has help with Wesley, but Lou is still able to score, 12-12. And Ramsey finds him.
And for some reason, he sees something that we don't, that most people in TFL don't, because he is going right at Jeremy. Ramsey is throwing routes right at Jeremy, and it seems like he's not able to read these routes. It's like he's underestimating Lou here, and he's paying for it because Lou, as tall as he is, he has some speed there. He has some afterburners, and he's catching Jeremy sleeping for yet another touchdown.
And Lou, right before we go to half, Lou comes up with the worst dance or the worst touchdown celebration, the worst in TFL history. That should be a not top 5. Play my music, the Price is Right music. That was a terrible celebration. I like that he celebrated, but I hate the celebration.
But listen, you asked for celebrations. You didn't say that they have to know how to dance.
What is he doing?
I don't know. Maybe he's just trying to be a comedian there. But you know what's funny? It's worse for YMM because they have to suffer through that.
Yeah.
So I think that was punishment. That was punishment added to the touchdown.
He should do that every time he scores.
Yeah.
Do that terrible dance.
Oh, because that will hurt the defense so much because that was ugly.
Well, that's a 12-12 tie. We're going to go into the half. If I'm YMM, I got to give props to Corey. You know, Corey's scoring points, and he's attacking. He showed a lacking in defensive capabilities of London today, and he's going right after him.
And I'm going to speak about Riot Squad real quick, but I just want to say one thing. Rico was livid to his team because they called timeout a couple of times when Riot Squad was driving and gave them time to make that last touchdown.
Right.
So if they didn't call timeout, they probably would have been able to stop them before that happened. So that was big right there, and Rico was living with his team because that was a big mistake on them. But on Riot Squad, they are taking advantage of every mistake YMM makes, and they're attacking Jeremy. I think that those are the 2 keys to this. That is why they're still in the game. They tie the game, and Ramsey is not making mistakes that he made in the first game. That is the difference maker here. And as long as he plays like that, I think they have a great chance.
Ramsey gets the ball back. 2 passes to JB for a decent game, picking up the first down. Second down, he throws deep to Meeks in the gap. The ball is short, picked off by Santana, giving the ball back to YMM, and he must not have heard the praise that you just gave Ramsey because he decided to go back to the old Ramsey, and he turns the ball over, gives it right back to Santana.
Listen, you live and die by the same sword, so exactly what benefits him is what hurts him. He goes deep here. I think he forced that pass. He didn't need to. I think that he was getting too comfortable forcing passes and going deep. It worked a couple times. Why not try again? Unfortunately for him, it leads to an interception.
Second down, Corey with a pass to Santana in the gap for a nice gain. After the first down, Corey throws to Wesley in the middle. Wesley jumps up, makes the catch, but the ball comes out. Ref said incomplete. Was this a catch?
This one's a hard one because it looks like he was attempting to make a move and he turned his body, but right as he turned his body, as he came down, the ball came out. It looked like the player got his hand in it.
So basically the Des Bryant play.
Yeah, so again, that is a tough play for a ref, and it's not a black and white thing. So again, you can't kill the refs on this one because this was a tough call. It could have went either way. If NFL refs can't even get it right on a regular, then you can't kill TFL refs.
And we don't really know if they, like I said, that's a hard play to make. We still don't know what it is. After the pass, for a decent game, third down, Corey's blitzed by Lou and throws to Rico on the sideline. Incomplete. YMM has to punt. Remember, it's 12-12. After 3 passes to get them to the 45-yard line, last down, Ramsey on 4 rush, rolls right, throws to Julio on the sideline. Picked off by Ice, giving the ball back to YMM. If you look here, JP was wide open on the sideline. He has his hands up. I don't know what Ramsey saw, and he's picked off by Ice.
He didn't see JP open, that's for sure, and that's what's killing him. He's only looking at certain guys, certain parts of the field. JP is not always appealing because he's not always a person that goes out deep. So Ramsey, again, he likes a deep pass. YMM is reading that, and they're playing back with the receivers going deep. They're able to read this, and Ramsey runs right into it for yet another interception.
Corey with 3 passes to get them to the 10-yard line. YMM can't reach the end zone on 4th down. They turn over the ball. First down, Ramsey throws deep to Lou with Jeremy on him. That one is incomplete. Ramsey then blitzed by Rico, throws to JP in the gap, off target, incomplete. Ryder have to punt. He tries to go back to Lou, and Jeremy's there to make a play. And then he gets blitzed by Rico and throws an off-target pass to JP in the gap. He's not looking good on his last 2 possessions. He is kind of like erratic right now with his throws. I don't know what's going on with him. Right now it's 12-12. Corey throws to Sesto in the middle for a nice game. Rico on the second down gets flagged for holding, bringing the ball back, taking his repeat first down. Corey with a short pass, Ruben and sideline, decent game, first down, few seconds left on the clock. Last play of the game before going into overtime with the opposer at the opposing 45. Corey pitches to Jeremy, who throws it up in the end zone. Wesley jumps, makes a great catch in the end zone for the game-winning touchdown, giving YMM the win, 18-12. If you look here, Riot Squad players jumped way too early.
And because of that, they didn't see Wesley just come up and snatch this ball. They were too lax on this play. You got to go up and get the ball. It seems like they thought this was just a routine, go up and knock the ball down. No, you got to take these plays seriously because many teams have lost on plays like this because they didn't take it seriously. And they're one of those victims here because they didn't go up and get the ball, and they allowed Wesley to come out of nowhere and snatch the ball out of the air. That is just bad, lackadaisy defense there, and that cost them the game there.
And right now, YMM comes away with the win. They're back in it. You know what I mean? This is a win that they had to have, and they actually got it. So they're back in it, and Riot Squad basically let people in. After coming in 5-0, they leave the field 5-2.
And that hurts if you're Riot Squad because both of those was plays that could have been prevented. These are games that they could have won, that they had the advantage, they had the momentum, but then Ramsey became Ramsey all over again in both of these games, and he started throwing deep passes that were unauthorized, they were forced, they were unnecessary, and because of that, he gave the other team many opportunities to take the win from them, and that's exactly what happened.
And right now in the division, Rep City is 6-1. Riot is 5-2. YMM is 3-2, coming in this week with a doubleheader. Street Fam is 4-3. Browns are 3-3. This is a winnable division. This is not over. It's gonna come down to the final weeks of the season.
But the sad part is the team that they already beat to get the top spot, they lose the top spot to now, even though they beat them. So now Rep City has the top spot at 6-1 because of 2 games they had the opportunity to win. They could have been 7-0 today, and they end up 5-2. And that's all their fault, you know, mainly their quarterback. And he got to take this one. He got to take both of these games into account and make sure that these doesn't happen again because it can destroy their season. Because
then they would have ended the season 7-0. I mean, they'll end the week 7-0, and then it don't matter even if they play. That means 7-0 with 2 games. they would just need to win one.
Yeah.
If they lost one, they would have a tiebreaker of Rep City, and they would be first place lockup no matter what. So if they would have won both games, both games was winnable,
Yeah.
they would have been cruising in the sun.
Yeah.
Now, they not only gave other teams opportunity to take first place, they may have to jump down all the way. They could fall all the way back and have to play a wild card game.
Yes. So they gotta buckle down, and Ramsey gotta make sure he doesn't throw these interceptions anymore, because this is killing his team. And most of the time when he throws interceptions, they capitalize, and again, that's what costing these games here.
All right, we're gonna wrap it up. Great show. Unfortunately, we didn't get the interview with Charlie. We finished too late, but I'll try to get an interview with him on the field. We had an issue with some of the games. Some of our recording equipment was we had a little problem with it. We got it working back.
Let's just say technical difficulties.
Yeah, we got it working back, but unfortunately, you're gonna have a few games where you can hear us, but it's back to the echo of this right now. It's not that terrible. But, you know, we aim for perfection, but we want to let y'all know it's something that happens once in a blue. We found a problem. We found a faulty wire, but unfortunately, we recorded, and it doesn't make sense to re-record the whole thing. Yeah. So we won't have that problem again, but it happens. We just want to let y'all know about it.
Yeah, I mean, just like we have sponsors, we also have technical difficulties, like a real network that we are, you know, even though the sponsors are fake, you know, get out of here with
sponsors are real.
Get out of here with the Members Mark.
Members Mark water. Check it out. They're good. It's purified water. But we're going to wrap it up. We're going to start preparing y'all for the All-Star game. Start making picks. It's still a little too close to decide who's going to make it. It's going to come into the final weeks, but it's going to be a great time, y'all. We got 2 weeks left, possibly 3 weeks. We're going to have to just see out on the field. We got some great games coming up this week, some great rivalries. Hopefully, y'all be ready for it because the season's almost over.
And one thing we're going to start doing as the next couple of games go, we get to give our analysis on who we feel is going to end up
for the awards.
Who's going to be who is going to be up for the awards. You know, we've already started that. And who is our speculation for who we think is going to face who in the playoffs.
Right. Now, remember, the awards is not all about your stats. Mm-hmm. We got certain stats. Like, you got players that play lockdown defense, made a lot of catches. So we're going to go by what we think is the best play, and we're going to talk to the coaches or the captains of the team who they feel should make it, and then we'll overall choose rather than just the league choosing. We'll see what the captains think.
Because a lot of times, most people go by stats and say, hey, well, he had 5 interceptions, but they don't take into account how. Sometimes he'll have 4 in one
against
game
a terrible team,
against a horrible team, so we don't always take that into account. If there's one guy who has 1 interception and 2 sacks, and he's been locking down crazy to the point where they don't throw on his side, I think that person deserves Defensive Player of the Year. So, again, we don't all go up all by stats, but impact on the game.
Right.
And how important you are to your team.
Right.
That is what makes you an award winner. In our book, we've been consistent with that, and that is why you've been seeing different types of people get different awards every single year.
And right before we wrap up the game, you know, we worked Monday. It was Martin Luther King birthday.
Yes.
And we always like to say something really quick. And I just want to thank we all give reasons of thanks. We played a few clips in the front in the beginning. Some of them are the same clips we played before because not many clips, but we used some just for y'all could get the feel of Martin Luther King's birthday. And I would like to thank him for all the sacrifice him and the people of that generation made for us, because without their impact, we wouldn't be where we at now or have the opportunities we have now. The problem is we're not where we want to be yet. There's still a lot of racism out here. There's still a lot of opportunities not given to us. And we got to figure out what we're doing for each other before we worry about what they're not doing for us. If we can stick together in everything we do, we can make a stronger impact in life and work in anything. It's easier to come together as a fist and strike a blow than fingers pointing at each other. We got to stick together, and if we stay strong, there's nothing that we can't accomplish.
And obviously, we've been seeing some. We've been tracking backwards in terms of, you know, society and the way people look at each other. There's a lot of bigotry that's going on, more so now than there has been in so many years, and that's something that Martin Luther King fought against for the course of the end of his life. he did so much for our communities and for this country as a whole.
Right.
And now we're seeing all of that being pushed back
Right.
by a lot of indifference with people. So
Right.
again, it starts with us. It starts with people that understand that message and understand how important it is, not only as a black person or a person of color, but a person that is an American at the end of the day. You know, we're supposed to be one community, one people, and that's how it should be. People are starting to lose that message, and we got to bring it back into people's minds, because that's where our country and our people are the strongest.
All right. That being said, we're going to thank y'all guys for being with us. Happy birthday, Dr. King. Thank you for everything you done for us. We want to wish you a happy birthday in heaven, brother. For Ghost, for Dawn, for Real Tough Talk, I'm Stephen J. We're going to see y'all later on the site. We're out of here. Thanks a lot, fellas.